Greetings, my name is Chris, aka The Philosopher's Games, and today I want to give you my first impressions of the Letters of John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, the revised and expanded edition. This book just came out yesterday from my perspective of recording this, and I took some time reading a bit through it and trying to find some differences. And as you can imagine, it's a big book and it's quite difficult to go through everything in detail in just a day, so I can only give you my first impressions here. This is not a full review. I also have not the physical copy yet, I only have the digital copy, so that is what I use here for my impressions. Obviously, there was already a Letters of Tolkien book before, and now this new version just expands this and adds new letters to those. That of course means that the old letters are also included in this new book. And here we come to the first important point: the letters are in chronological order. If you have seen my videos here, I often say in letter 131 we can read, and then I read the quote. You could ask, what is now with the letter numbering? Because if you now add new letters between, let's say, letter 8 and letter 9, it would change all the following numbers. And that would potentially confuse all the people reading older articles, academic works, or maybe also seeing videos online where letters are referenced and wondering, why is the number always not fitting to what this guy is reading? So in this case, they decided to keep the old numbering and just add letters to the number. So between 8 and 9 you have now letter 8A, letter 8B and letter 8C. Though this, for some people who don't know the context, might imply that letter 8A has something to do with letter 8, which is though not the case, it is still, I think, the best solution, and it allows everyone to also instantaneously see what are the new letters in the book, which is great in my opinion. Also, it must be noted that Tolkien wrote a lot of letters in his life, and even with the new book, not all of them are published. So there is a potential for more, though one can also argue that not every letter of Tolkien needs to be published. However, I'll link you a link to tolkienguide.com in the description, where you can find a summary for pretty much each letter. Further, there are in the internet also some other letters that were not published in books before that you can also find and read. I found a document some time ago where you find 60 letters that were not published in the Letters of Tolkien. And before the publication of the new expanded Letters of Tolkien book, I suspected that many of those we will find in the new book. Interestingly, that is not the case. I actually did the work and searched for all of the 60 letters in the new book, and I only found, I think, 2. Maybe I made a mistake and it's 3, but round about this number. So we have now these over 150 new letters plus the 60 that are also available online. If you search for it, you might find them. For example, there's one letter where somebody asks Tolkien if his vision of Middle-earth was inspired by the landscape of Iceland. And Tolkien says he was never to Iceland, but note that he always wanted to go there, and that, for example, the Midgewater Marshes is a direct translation of an Icelandic place called Mývatn. This one is, for example, not in the new book, and I would have expected it to find it there, but it's not too bad, because we have access to some of those letters anyway. That, I think, is then the best of both worlds, getting a lot of new stuff that we have not found anywhere else yet. It seems to me, for now, that most of the new letters we find in the book are addressed to his family, closer family, friends, colleagues, but also to matters relating to publishing his books. This is also reflected by this little graph we find on the Tolkien Guide review. And as a result, the content of these letters is often more related to Tolkien's biography. So if you want to learn more about Tolkien as a person, and maybe also how the books came to be published and what troubles Tolkien had to deal with in this time in his life, then these letters are highly interesting. If you are more a law guy like me, I'm not too deep into Tolkien's biography, then you might not find that much new in these letters so far. But I have not read all of them yet, so this is just my impression right now, and I could be wrong here. And of course, the work of Humphrey Carpenter of putting this new book together, expanding his old work, is very impressive and not to be criticized. Like, it's the same quality. You find comments, notes, and annotations in it. If you have the digital version, it's quite as with the other Tolkien books. You can click on a note, you jump to the note, can click on back, and you jump back where you were. That works pretty flawlessly, and I had no troubles there. And for completeness sake, one of the Tolkien letters that you could have found on the internet before this book was published is letter 196a. And in the other version you could find before, it is not in full. Here, letter 169a is a bit expanded and you find a bit more context with it. Same with letter 43a, which could also be found on the internet before, but it was there not in full again. Now this letter is in full. However, the other version has like an interesting comment that puts it more into context, which is missing here in the new book though. There was also in the original Letters of Tolkien book letter 284 to W.H. Auden. And interestingly, Tolkien references this letter in another unpublished letter, but the other letter is not in the new book. However, the book is also called Revised, and here we have, for example, a good example you have probably heard already about, which is letter 131 to Milton Waldman from round about 1951. And in the original 131 letter, you have these brackets saying here follows a summary of The Lord of the Rings. Now we have Tolkien's summary of The Lord of the Rings, and in my opinion it's quite interesting to read. Definitely, I read through the whole letter there again and found some of Tolkien's thoughts and explanations of what he intended with some parts of his books very interesting. For example, he also underlines the idea that the 9 companions are kind of the counterparts to the 9 ring race that try to take the one ring and undo what the Fellowship is doing. This is of course nothing really new, but it's interesting that Tolkien explicitly states this. Further, in the summary of Book 6, Tolkien states that writing the end of The Lord of the Rings, the passage about Mount Doom and the victory afterwards brought tears to his eyes. And I think we can all relate to that. So I highly recommend checking out letter 131 again, even though it was published before in the old book. Here on the screen you can maybe see the different colors. I of course have to blur the text to not get into trouble, but on the left side you see the old version, on the right side the new one, and the lighter greenish parts are what is added to this, and you see it's a lot longer than the old letter. In addition, in the now full letter 131 in the new book, we also get this interesting list how Tolkien would have structured his works, including the Silmarillion, which is also very interesting. And one line in particular I found quite fascinating. He calls Sauron, who returned in the Third Age, also the Third Dark Lord. That I think I've never read before. I also love how Tolkien writes about his chapter about the languages of the Third Age and the alphabet, that it proves amazingly attractive to some readers, and I find pretty awesome and can relate. Another interesting case is letter 294b, which is also new in the new book, and it's a letter to Donald Swann from the 20th of March 1967. And with Donald Swann, Tolkien had kind of a cooperation to write The Road Goes Ever On. That is a Lord of the Rings related poem and songbook. Donald Swann wrote the music, Tolkien contributed the poetic parts of it, and also had added some lore information which you only find in this book, and it's also a late writing of Tolkien that makes it very interesting. I personally would have loved to also get the other letters to Donald Swann to learn a little bit more how this book came to be and what maybe the problems in the background were. On the Tolkien Guide site you can at least find a summary of those letters and get an idea, but I think it would be great to just get the letters completely. And that were my first impressions of the Letters of J.R.R. Tolkien, the revised and expanded edition. I hope you enjoyed this and found this in any way useful. If you already read into the book and have found some fantastic letters, I would appreciate it a lot if you would post the letter number in the comment section, so we can maybe discuss some of these letters next stream. That would be awesome, and I think a very good idea. I try to stream here on this channel and do another LotR Q&A with maybe focus on the new book on this weekend. So if you would like to join, feel free to join, and if you want to contribute, feel free to post your favorite letters here in the comment section or wherever you want. I potentially will see them here on the channel if you post them somewhere in the comments. Would be much appreciated. Thank you for watching. As always, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to press the like button, as said, leave a comment, and also subscribe if you have not. Check out the stream at the weekend, that would be also nice. And if you wonder, where's Chris all the time? I'm still quite busy on the games channel, but I will slowly return to more Lord of the Rings content, so look out for that as well. Who is Elrond and the prelude to the Lord of the Rings is the next video, of course. And maybe I manage to finish the series with this, or there will be an additional one. Once it is finished, there will be the all-in-one version, which I'm looking forward to publish here. It will be very long. Hopefully not as long as YouTube allows to upload videos, but I think I should be below 12 hours. That is what you can expect here, but also I want to stream a little bit more here again on this channel. But as said, currently I'm so busy with so many things, it is kind of difficult to find time for anything. But it will get slowly better towards the end of the year, so look out for that. We could also think about watching like a little tradition Lord of the Rings together again in December, but I think a lot of channels are doing that. But, well, you never can watch Lord of the Rings enough, I guess. Let me definitely know in the comments if you would like that. Also some wishes or topic suggestions if you want, when this channel becomes more active, so I know what people might want to see, especially for live streams and so on, which I always enjoy doing, and I want to stream more here on this channel, as said. Further, of course, you can also check if you're into video games, the games channel, which I put in a lot of work right now. Still, shoutouts and thank you to all the people supporting me in all the different ways, be it channel memberships, subscriptions, or just likes, comments, or just watching my videos. It's all much appreciated. Thank you for that, and see you next time. Goodbye.